Hello and good Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. We are here for another great Tuesday 10 at 10. And my name is Richard Charpentier, and I'm filling in for Dr. Lynn Carson to answer all your great questions regarding baking and bakery problems. So without further ado, let's get started. So first question. On yeast donuts. My commercial yeast raised donuts have an off odors after 3 days. What causes it? All right. So first of all, if after 3 days of being produced, your yeast raised donuts do have a off flavor, you have a problem. And again, I'm assuming it's just yeast raised donut with a glaze. So my first thing, without knowing, seeing your product, check your fat. Free fatty acids. If you don't change your fat regularly, basically they will oxidize, getting free radicals, and they continue giving you off flavors. So my first thing is there. Again, good sanitation in a bakery is super important, and how they're being handled. Are you using, fat as ingredients you're using fresh? Remember, because I've seen people making great products, but then they finish it shop with a glaze that is a really old flavor that is turned no longer vanilla flavor, and then they're using it, and then they're wondering why. So check your ingredients. My first instinct tells me your fat, your free fatty acid. They do sell online litmus tests for free fatty acid. It's not accurate, but at least it'll give you a strong indication of where you are and whether or not you have an issue with it. But that is not a good thing. So it needs to be corrected. And check your flour as well. If your flour is rancid, if you have a rancid ingredient or in your process. All right. Good luck. Next question. Sorbic acid. Fresh aloe vera juice and oils. What quantity of sorbic do I need? All right. So I'm assuming you're trying to preserve, to create a preservation system for your oil, aloe vera juice and oils that you're blending together. Sorbic acid is, you have to look. The solubility of sorbic acid is 214 degree Fahrenheit, so it's pretty high up. So, and not knowing your juices of the acidity, go check what pH, at which pH does the sorbic acid dissolve, and which environment, and if you're not, I'm not assuming you're cooking that, so therefore it's eliminated. What you do not want basically pieces, precipitates of pieces of sorbic acid in your drink. One is going to be unappealing from a visual standpoint. Two, it's not going to taste good. So if you're trying to lower, as a preservation system, lemon juice is the first thing, so where you can lower your pH and therefore help for the longevity and the shelf life of your drink. But not a big fan of sorbic, especially not for a drink. And just see, so I cannot recommend a quantity. It's often very small amount, but in your case, you want to have something that's going to be easily soluble within your process. Good luck. Next question. Bread processing. Is it possible to calculate material efficiency from total input of raw material in kilogram and total output of breads in kilogram? Yes. So from my years of experience working in commercial bakeries, good valuable unit, sellable, good valuable sellable units. So in bakery, it's super important, because think about it. You're starting with so much, in kilograms or pounds, it doesn't matter, a certain amount of raw material to create certain amount of breads, croissants, crackers, cakes, whatever you're trying to do. So you want to make sure that calculating your waste and understanding. The best practice I would say for you is go take a piece of paper and say, okay, take your formula, how many breads do you need to make? Or how many cakes, or how many things you need to make? So calculate it, look at the amount of total raw material you need to produce what your desired, quantity of X amount of finished products, and then go place it before a shift. If you have an 8-hour shift, go place it into, for the mixer or whoever's going to produce it, and give them the right amount, and maybe calculate 10% above it. So that technically you're calculating 10% of waste, and then you can calculate how much you'd be left. So at the end of the day, if you can exactly calculate how many breads you got versus how much material was used, and then you can do the math and say, okay, my efficiency is X versus where I should be. It's easy to do, and you'll see, how many good sellable units you're getting throughout the process with the amount of raw material you're starting. And I recommend it for a lot of bakeries. Do it. It's a good exercise, and it's a good way to track waste in bakeries, because waste is money down the drain. So good luck on this one. Next question. Shelf life extension. For increasing the shelf life of cookies, what else to be, can I use lecithin, and is lecithin enough to increase the shelf life of cookies? Lecithin, let's think about it for cookies. What is lecithin? Lecithin is derived from either fat or from eggs. What is lecithin as a functional ingredient? It's being used in emulsifier. It binds the ingredients together. It changes the texture slightly. So if you were to use lecithin alone, it might be good, but lecithin might delay the distilling process to a certain degree, but that's all it's going to do texturally. So if you're looking at shelf life, and we're talking about shelf life, are you talking about 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? And that's where it gets tricky, because as you extend the shelf life of your cookies, you're going to need to add more ingredients, because you have to, where is your water activity, in relationship? Cookies are generally low, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about it. But packaging, do you have the proper packaging? Do you have the proper sanitation process in your cookie factories to extend your shelf? Do you need any mold preservation system? You need to add sorbic acid, sodium propionate. What else would you need to add to your cookies based on the cookies you're producing? See, it's not like, just throw it in and it's done. It's case per case based on how you're producing, your speed at which you're producing, and the shelf life you're targeting, and the type of texture. If it's a hard cookie, if it's a shortbread type of cookie, buttery, then you have to worry about the fat oxidizing over time if you're using butter. So all in all, it's not just, lecithin is enough. Lecithin is a step in the right direction, but most likely you would need other things to be added to extend the shelf life. Hopefully it helps. And we have our last question. How about using apple cider vinegar as a natural leavening agent? That's a good question. Think about it. It's something I thought about, and it sounds, everybody's now using at home. We have apple cider vinegar. I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to leaven the cake. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to use that as a leavening agent. Sounds pretty cool, but think about it. You're putting now a liquid form vinegar, which we're talking about a pH of 2 to 3, and then you're putting into your cake. And if you're trying to have that react with your leavening, system, your baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, it's going to react right away. You're going to create, from high school, you take vinegar and baking soda, and it's going to erupt. It's going to be too quick of a reaction. So it sounds good on paper, but you have to understand that leavening systems are determined to work in the oven at different rates based on different cakes. And they're the building blocks of cakes when you're building a cake. with bread, what do we have to leaven our breads? We have yeast. In cakes, we have baking, chemical, acids and base. So I would say try it. It's got to be difficult. I did see online that you could find a powdered form of apple cider vinegar, but it's very expensive. Unless you're doing it strictly for the claim, you could put like a just a tiny bit, but it's not going to be enough to really give you the leavening you need. And again, not knowing your formulation or your process, I would say stay away from it. There are other processes because vinegar by itself is going to be way too aggressive, and you're going to have to learn how to neutralize. And neutralizing, we're talking about. You can look on the Bakerpedia, learning forum where they teach you about neutralizing value, but that's something that I would think is difficult to do. So I would not recommend it. So, all right, my fellow bakers and friends listening to Tuesday 10 at 10, I will wrap it up. My name is Richard Charpentier. I'm the owner of Baking Innovation, and also you can find me on the Baker Help. I'm also a consultant with Bakerpedia. And you have a lovely day and keep on baking. Thank you.